Christmas time, capitalism's most lucrative time of the year. 'Tis the season of cheaply made Hallmark films, awkward office parties, and last-second novelty gifts that will definitely be thrown away on the 26th. But of all the strange traditions that happen around this time of year, perhaps the most important one of those is the somewhat awkward tradition of sitting on a very, very special stranger's lap. Enter the Mall Santa. Urban Dictionary defines a mall Santa as... It doesn't matter what they think. You've seen them before. Doing their thing, being jolly, listening to kids ask for the most absurdly ridiculous gifts that there's no way their parents can afford without skipping out on rent for the next couple months, that is. But underneath all of those economic pressures, merriment, and predatory stereotypes is a person. A person that I wanted to talk to. In order to do that, I had to hit my car battery with a piece of wood enough times to eventually get it to start, and then journey to Vernon Hills, Illinois, where outside of a Macy's sat a man who would defy all of the previous negative labels that I explained earlier. A white-bearded stranger who truly exemplified the beauty of Christmas. A kind soul who was patient enough to deal with my idiocy while also proving to be one of the sweetest people I have met in a very, very long time. But before you get to meet him, I gotta talk to you guys a little bit about car insurance. The holidays are here and you're spending way too much money on gifts. Not to mention, day-to-day life seems to be getting more and more expensive. Luckily for us though, Kenosha Auto Insurance is stepping up in a big way to help us out this holiday season. When you shop locally with Kenosha Auto Insurance, you'll see how simple and hassle-free auto insurance can really be while they get you and your family the best rates. So, what are you waiting for? Give them a call today at 262-448-4141. That's 262-448-4141. The website is kenoshains.com. It's on the screen right now. Give them a call, tell them D-Rita D-Talk sent you. The worst that can happen is you will get the best rates. Now, I introduce to you Santa Claus.
Welcome to the Detox Podcast. Yeah. Yes. Welcome to the Detox Pod, where we don't know what the hell is going on. Yeah. Welcome to the Detox Podcast.
If it stops at any point, then you just push that again. You just push that button again. All right, we're going this way. What's going on, people? We're over here at Macy's. Actually, I don't even know where we are, but we're heading over to the Christmas story because we got to meet a very special somebody today. A very special somebody. Look at that. He's in the field right now. He's in the field right now. I'm very excited. I'm nervous. Trying to meet Santa Claus today. What's happening, dog? All right, we're checking it out. A Christmas Story. Wow, this is legit, bro. Look at this. Look at this whole getup here. A Christmas Story. Enter here. I'm making noise I didn't mean to make. You're going too hard here. All right, let's check it out. Do I have to go down that slide? I don't think I might exceed the weight limit. Okay, check it out. Enter here. Look, you got all these images. Dude, whoever put this together, stellar job, man. Look at, they got the radio station. Look at, they got a nice chair in here, vintage. They got the lamp. Look at that. This is a fantastic movie, best Christmas movie, hands down. I don't think there's one better. There's some close contenders, but this is the best one. Look, you got a fridge, Westinghouse fridge. Dude, legit, very legit. This is our moment. We're gonna meet him right here. Well, look at what popped out on the other side here. What's going on? It's him. It's you.
Yes.
How are you? I'm Darren. Nice to meet you.
Pleased to meet you, Darren.
Can I? Is it cool if I ask you a couple questions? If I hang out with you?
Yes.
Can I tell you what I want for Christmas though first?
Yes, you may.
Or could you look at me by looking at me? What would you guess I would want for Christmas? Avoid the neck beard. I didn't get to shave today. We were in a hustle to make it here, so.
Something automotive.
Oh, I could use that, actually. That would be a much more economical choice. But I'm into Legos, actually.
Oh.
As cringeworthy as that is for how old I am. But how are you? How is Santa on a day like today?
Quite well, thank you.
They've got you set up here pretty nice.
Yes.
I like the setup you got. So I'm curious. I've got some questions today. We do a podcast,
Yes.
and so I was kind of curious as to how you got here today, because you're pretty busy this time of year.
Yes.
You got a lot of stuff going on. You got some good elves in place right now that are overseeing things while you're out here answering questions.
Yes, I do, and so is Mrs. Claus.
I wanted to ask about Mrs. Claus. Is she on you this time of year because you're so busy, or is she, your rock? Is she like super supportive? How does that balance out?
Super supportive.
Okay. How do you meet a Mrs. Claus? There's a lot of kids out here, a lot of guys, young men that are looking for their Mrs. Claus. How do you find one? How do you find a keeper?
How do you find a keeper?
Yeah.
Oh, it takes looking. It takes time. It's one thing to get to meet somebody. It's another thing to get to know them. So don't rush it.
That's great advice. Yeah, I think a lot of people, like when you mentioned that first part about looking, I think maybe they're looking so hard that they're like, this has to be the first person that I get this date with, and they sort of force things, and then later down the line they realize, this isn't going to work out. They're in bad situations. That's great advice.
Now, you were mentioning about me getting around. The sled and the reindeer are at home.
Okay.
The reindeer only fly once a year.
Wow.
And that is on Christmas Eve. The rest of the year, they
It's kind of
prance
stubborn.
and walk around just like other reindeer south of us. And, of course, the sleigh gets pulled by them. The sleigh has no powers on its own.
Okay.
And I get around, well, I'm not going to tell you how I get down here, but I get around like everybody else. I have to drive or take the L.
What is Santa whipping these days? What are you driving?
What am I driving?
Yeah.
A very comfortable minivan.
Okay. Hell yeah, that's awesome. I need to get me one of those. What kind of we talking Honda, Chrysler? What we looking at?
Kia.
Kia. Okay. Kia out here.
Kia
minivan.
Sedona.
A Kia Sedona. There you go. Officially endorsed. I stand. So I gotta. This might be. I don't mean to press you here, Santa. So forgive me if this is overstepping. But do you separate the elves from the means of production? Do they get workers' rights and benefits?
Yes.
They do.
And we don't produce as much as we used to.
Okay.
I do not make all the toys.
Really?
Really, because if I did, I would be putting a lot of people out of work, and that
you
would
think
be
so?
a bad thing.
That is true. You probably, the elves seem pretty hard at work, I feel like.
We're mainly into distribution. Acquisition and distribution.
So we shouldn't be, I guess the elves aren't making every individual Lego set then. They're just,
No.
You guys are getting them. You got someone who's doing shipping and receiving over there who's very, very
No,
good.
we don't want to be responsible for any unemployment.
Okay, yeah, that's a good model. I feel like that's a good way to look at things. I'm curious, how long have you been doing this? Have you been doing this?
Since 1985.
85.
Yes.
Are you from Illinois?
No,
Oh, okay, where are you from?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Okay, I was going to say because 85 is the year that I'm a Chicago Bears fan.
Oh.
It's very sad existence, but that was the one year we won. So I was just curious if you were from around here. That would have been a pretty awesome fun
Well,
fact.
don't feel bad. Look at Boston.
Yeah, that's true.
I started in Philadelphia
Okay.
at a place that does not exist anymore, Strawbridge and Clothier.
So I gotta ask, who is the man? So obviously this podcast is more it's like 18 and up stuff. So this is okay. I figured I wanted to get a little bit out of the way as you as Santa, but I want to get to know you a little bit. And I introduced myself as Darren. Who are you?
My name is John.
John. Okay, John. How did you start doing? What drew you to this? How did you hear about or get the idea that maybe I could be Santa?
Well, that same question was asked to me in 1985 by the manager of Strawbridge's branch store in Jenkintown. He wanted to know why I wanted to do it, and I just looked at him and I laughed a little bit. I said, I suppose it's a midlife crisis.
That's very well. You have the look. I feel like it's something you have to be born with, you know? Like, not everybody can just be like, oh, I'm going to be Santa. And especially, this is a pretty legit setup here.
Yes.
They couldn't just plop me in here and give me a little beard and a wig. It wouldn't work. So that's kind of lucky. I feel like you got lucky in that sense.
Well, I've got a large family.
Okay.
3 children, 22 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren on the way and counting.
Wow. Well, congratulations on that. Big happy family. That's
Thank you.
awesome. How does your family view you being Santa? Is that like, is it exciting? Is it this time of year? Do you ever do stuff for the family, or is that kind of separate?
No, that's separate.
Okay. That's interesting.
They all know that I do this,
Oh, okay.
even from the littlest ones.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. So I guess what keeps you doing this? You said you've been doing it since '85. So what keeps you coming back to be Santa?
I like the interaction with people. And when I was little, I was afraid of Santa because most of them wore fake beards and they didn't act natural. They didn't look natural.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the ho-ho-ho sound and all that stuff. I was always afraid of meeting famous people.
And you felt that he was
Yes.
like up on this pedestal.
Yes. And so I wanted to, I guess, be a calming factor to little ones during this time of the year when there's a lot of excitement generated. And it can almost be on an emotional overload to come into a crowded mall with lots of light, lots of sound, and then being in line and waiting to see this stranger dressed in red. I'm the most famous stranger in the world.
Yeah, it's true.
Let's face it, we only have a maybe 3 to 5 minute encounter
Yeah.
once a year. Unless you go Santa watching or something.
That would be a weird hobby to have.
Comparison.
Yeah. Well, that's a good way of putting it. I didn't really realize that.
Now the parents will go out ahead and do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll present their children to the Santa that they want them to know.
Okay.
But I found out you just need to take your time and be sympathetic to the children
Yeah.
and be interested in them.
Speaking of that, what's the most interesting, maybe eyebrow-raising thing a kid's ever come up here and asked you for?
Oh, that's easy. I was in Columbus, Georgia one year at a mall, and this was during the day when only preschoolers would be present. And the little girl asked me for just 2 things, a Barbie doll and a crotch rocket.
Really?
And at that time, I did not know what a crotch rocket was.
You've since found out.
Yes. In fact, several minutes later, I found out. After I nodded to the little girl, acknowledging her request. And after she left, I looked at the photographer and I said, Jen, what on earth is a crotch rocket? Oh, that's what we call motorcycles down here. And, well, children come to me. I never know what kind of mommy-daddy talk they've been listening to that they're not supposed to be listening to.
Yeah.
And I thought, could it be something like that?
Yeah.
And so that got cleared up.
Yeah. I'm glad it did. I think
Yes.
you've got somebody waiting for you, so we're going to step out for just a second, but I appreciate your time. We'll be back in just a second. John, is it cool if I talk to you for a couple more minutes? Sweet. Okay. So, first off, can you tell us what kids ask for Christmas, or can you not tell us that? Is that classified?
Legos are big.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs, princesses, and anything electronic.
That's fair. You guys handle the iPads and iPods as well?
Yes.
Wow. That's crazy. That's got to be tough. That's got to be really tough. I'm curious for you, John, what has been, if you can think back to maybe any time, what's been the most special Christmas present you've ever gotten?
That I've ever gotten?
Yeah.
Well, we'd have to go back to childhood. I would say my HO trains.
What are those? Are those like the controlled ones?
Yes, the electric trains.
Okay.
But the HO gauge looks like real tracks. not the 3 rails like you see on some of the larger scales.
Okay.
And this would have been a passenger train of, what's that railroad that's no longer in existence? Santa Fe.
Okay.
And of course, I had the obligatory freight train. But we set up a whole village on a piece of plywood on a dining room table. And all the houses and buildings came from Austria. This was back in the 1960s. And the detailing was out of this world. Shutters on the windows, window boxes with actual flowers in them, and train stations, churches, houses of different sizes. So it was quite a project every year.
Why was specifically that so special to you?
Well, I like trains. I always have. And I like architecture.
Okay.
And so the two combined, it was a perfect match.
Yeah, those are really cool. My niece has some really cool remote trains. I don't know the exact brand or anything, but they're pretty neat. I got a lot of respect for them. I'm curious too, in the spirit of giving and receiving gifts. Is there a gift that you're really excited to give this year?
This year?
Yeah, or maybe one that you're proud that you did give recently or in the past.
I would say, as far as gift giving, what I do here at the mall is the gift that I have the fondest memories of giving. Oh, to my children I've given, well, the daughters especially, they like certain perfumes and things from the bath place upstairs here.
Okay.
And that's, if you can't think of anything else, you can always go there and find something.
Yeah, candles are great. It's a safe bet.
But I would say my interaction and communication with the children, and not just the children, but their families too, that is the best gift that I can give.
I think you're right. I have to agree with that. I wanna ask you a couple of off the wall, little sillier questions here. So, who picks up the reindeer shit? Who's doing that? Who gets that?
You mean as we're traveling?
I didn't even think of that. I was just thinking in general, the rest of the year, like who's picking it up? Like I got to clean up after the dogs, the cat, you know.
Yes, I know that, and no, it's a community endeavor, but really reindeer are not hard to clean up after.
Okay.
They produce berries.
Oh, okay.
Like goats do and sheep.
Wow.
And and that's what gets left behind on my route around the world.
That's fair.
They're you can put them right in the garden. They won't
really
burn the plants like chicken manure does, but chicken manure you can use at a later date, but reindeer berries you can use right off.
Really?
Away.
That's pretty wild, actually.
And of course it's organic.
Yeah, that's true. I want to ask you as well, what do you do the rest of the year?
Not much. I'm retired.
Okay.
So this is what I look forward to all year long.
Really? That's really cool. Okay, well, I'm not sure. Mike, are there any questions, anything I didn't touch on that we wanted to... Anything, Chad, that you want to ask? Ask John here. Okay, well, shout out to Chad for setting this up today, helping us out, in here.
There is one thing, though, I wanted to pass along.
Okay.
That toward the end of the visit, I like to give a hug to whoever wants one. And I tell the children, I said, did you know that hugs are one of the basic food groups?
Oh, yeah, are they?
And yes, and that gets them thinking. I said, now you don't eat a hug, but you need them every day as much as you do the good food that you consume to make your bodies grow stronger. And I say, pretend I'm a teacher and I'm giving you a homework assignment right now. I want you to get a hug and give a hug every day. And I said, but really, I think you've already been doing that, so you've passed. You've got an A 1,000 plus.
Wow. Well, thank you, Santa. I appreciate that. Mind if we'll let you take care of business here. Mind if we get a hug? Can I get a hug in
Yes,
here?
you can.
Thank you, Santa. You're my hero.
Thanks for coming.
Of course, thank you. Another big shout out to John for letting us sit down and chat with him. He was extremely polite and kind and willing to answer and play along with some of my ridiculousness. So I really do appreciate him. John, if you're watching this, thank you. I would love to sit down and do an actual episode sometime in studio. That would be super cool. Again, thank you. And also thank you to the homie Chad for helping us get this thing figured out and letting us speak with him for just a little bit there. I also want to say a quick shout out to our patrons. They should be up on the screen right now. If you guys are interested in becoming a patron and getting exclusive access to behind the scenes of vlogs, as well as wrestling videos, basketball stuff, and exclusive podcast episodes, not to mention an entire series where I break down how I mix, master, write, record every single one of my songs. Go to patreon.com/Darren Rita to get access to that. You can help support the channel for as little as $1. Also, one last time, quick shout out to Kenosha Auto Insurance for sponsoring this episode. This has been the 181st episode of the Detox Podcast. Have a Merry Christmas, guys, and I will see you next week. Peace.